actually have a connection to one of the administration picks, Border Czar Tom Homan. He's from your district in New York. Talk to us about how you feel, what he's going to do. Is he the right person to handle this job?
Oh, absolutely. Tom Homan's amazing. He comes originally from the North Country. He now lives in Sackett's Harbor, which is in my district, on absolutely spectacular Lake Ontario up in the St. Lawrence Seaway area. But he is amazing, and he's going to be so good. Here's Tom Homan, very common sense, very experienced, worked under President Obama and President Trump. He's the guy who's going to first go in and secure the border. That's the most important thing. And as your earlier guest alluded to, the governor of Oklahoma, he's going to focus on illegal immigrants who are coming here who are criminals. And I think we need to emphasize we're going to look at people in a way based on criminals first, and then he's going to focus on saving those 300,000 children who we believe have been trafficked and let loose somehow in this community and are being abused. And that is so important. I can't emphasize how compassionate and how important it is that Tom Homan wants to focus on those children. All of us care about these children that were trafficked and all over our communities. Tom Homan knows he's from a border area. My district is the whole border of upstate New York along the St. Lawrence Seaway, all the way to the Niagara border, where we've seen all kinds of problems with our border that don't get talked about. It's why I was one of the co-founders of the Northern Border Security Caucus. We've been focusing on that northern border ever since I took this new seat, which has all this border in it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned, what he wants to do. And the number one thing he said over and over again is, and I'm quoting him here, deport dangerous criminals who are here illegally. So let's stay on the subject of the border. I want to ask you about something that came up during the Laken Riley murder trial yesterday. So according to a witness, Barra's friend, they were together in Midtown Manhattan, staying at the Roosevelt Hotel here in New York City. And then he wanted to take a humanitarian flight, courtesy of the Biden-Harris administration, to Atlanta. So he was granted that free of charge. And then less than 6 months later, he makes his way to Athens, Georgia, which we know is about 60 miles from Atlanta. Not hard to get there from here. And then he stalked Laken Riley. He murdered her. What's your reaction to that? That now these criminals are able to fly wherever they want to commit the crimes that they want.
Look, it is horrific, this whole Laken Riley situation, and it is directly the fault of the Biden administration and New York State. The Democrat left-leaning legislature, Governor Hochul, Governor Cuomo, who instituted the 2019 Green Light Law. That law gave criminal sanctuary to, criminal illegal immigrants, gave them licenses and special protections, and also allowed and required ICE to let go dangerous criminals if they could not be identified within a certain period of time. The New York Police Department had to let Jose Ibarra go. They had to free him, where he was able to, as you identified, get this free flight to Georgia, where he was able to kill Laken Riley. This is absolutely just absurd that this is happening in our country. This is on the Democrats, particularly on the national level, and now especially in New York State. We have to repeal that green light law. People in New York State have to wake up and understand they voted in another Democrat majority in the Senate and in the Assembly who are going to continue these policies of putting New York residents at risk. Murderous criminals are getting released and protected in New York. Sanctuary City, the green light law, licenses, special protections, the inability of law enforcement to work together to know that these dangerous criminal aliens are in our communities. And that's exactly what the 9/11 Commission cautioned against before we had after 9/11. They got together and said the police need to work together. This 2019 law, implemented by Governor Cuomo, actually took away that common sense finding from the 9/11 Commission, and now the police can't even work together. The federal police, the local, the state, all have to allow these criminal aliens special privileges in our country, in our state. This is really dangerous. And I hope the New York residents wake up and realize what they've done and put the pressure on Albany and Governor Hochul, who continue to allow this to happen, not to mention the actual economic harm, almost $5 billion this year alone to New York taxpayers in new taxes, the highest tax state in the nation, on top of another $4 million over the last few years to implement these just disgusting Biden administration policies where we're taking money away from New York residents who desperately need it, not just in New York City, all over New York State.
No, you're absolutely right. And, you use the word that Governor Stitt used, common sense. These are all common sense things, but no one's seeming to understand them at all. Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Great to see you all.
Thank you too. Alex, over to you.